Now, stay on to this. We're going to come back to it tomorrow. I suppose you can't see real well from over on this side, but on the front of the table, do you see that little painted rectangle? Even Henry Nouwen, a much holier and wiser man than I, we were friends for many years, he puzzled about that. What does that little box mean painted on the front of the table? Well, it just so happens you're the first generation that's going to know this. They let scholars in to the Moscow Museum a few years back to examine this under camera, and right where that little frame is, that little rectangle, they discovered some residue. They were given permission to scratch off the residue, put it under a microscope, and lo and behold, it was glue. Now, none of us can prove this, but the very strong suspicion, and this would break all rules of iconography, is that there was a mirror glued to that spot. There's no other icon that ever has a mirror glued on it. Breaks all the rules. But because the residue was of glue, we know something, and then it fits Rublev's total theology. Do you see what's happening? Do you see how you get to the table? The observer of the icon, and this is an orthodox spirituality of icons, you gaze at it till it pulls you into the mystery. It's not meant to maintain the subject-object split, but to overcome the subject-object split. So you know something subject to subject, center to center. You're in on the dance. You're in on the communion. You're in on the love. This is everything belongs right here. This is the whole message. That when we had, and it only lasted, at least in the West for a short time, a dynamic Trinitarian spirituality, we had a much deeper, more universal belonging system. But once God became an emperor, once you have imperial thinking, empires depend, and do I need to tell you this right now? Depend on excluding people who is not in the empire. Do you understand? That's the only way you can maintain your superiority and your separateness, which, by the way, is the two things the ego always wants, to be separate and to be superior. Now, there's only one thing more dangerous than the individual ego, and that's the group ego. When the group wants to feel separate and superior.